A message sent November 28th.
Daddy, I want to tell you a few things. I just came back from ballet, and we're home right now, and Mommy, and when we were in the garage, I asked Reagan, did you poop? And he nodded his head, but he really did not poop. But that's funny because, Mommy checked, and there was no poop. So, why don't you call me back at 7 o'clock? Bye-bye.
TBTL.
I don't know a lot about business, but he did an internet, and now the computers like him, and Wall Street is Google.
Please refrain from scolding us for our approach. Our approach is legitimate.
If I was going to go out and have a Mexican dinner tonight, an Italian dinner tonight, it's immaterial. And you could twist it and turn it whichever way the press decides to do.
All right, I'm going to assume that's hypothetical, right?
This is my sandbox. I'm not allowed to go in the deep end. That's where I saw the leprechaun. He told me to burn things.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome, everyone, to a Thursday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
Oh, and the adventure begins again.
My name's Luke Burbank. I am your host.
Welcome to the internet.
Speaking of adventures beginning again, I was grabbing something right before it was my turn to talk, and I guess I was grabbing this little microphone that I'm going to throw in a bag and bring with me to Valley City, Ohio next week, because, of course, we're going to be doing the TV Telethon from there. And I guess I need to maybe dust around here, because when I went to grab this little microphone, I was covered in cobwebs. Some real great Gardens energy, some real great expectations happening here in the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia.
Oh, Ma, Pa, it's just beautiful.
It is a beautiful Thursday here in southern Washington, as we sidle on up to episode 4,767 in a collector series.
Let the fun begin.
From where I'm sitting right now, I can look out the sliding glass doors of the studio and see this new boat that I took delivery of yesterday.
Hey, Lloyd, do some
delivery. I cut that drop off a little bit before he says the critical word. The point of playing this drop is so that, what is his name? Mike? No, Sims. Dave Sims says, "Hey Lloyd, do some delivery." But I decided to, on the fly, try to edit it, so it's just him saying,
Hey, Lloyd, do some...
You can fill in the rest in your mind. Anyway, I got an additional boat yesterday, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. Speaking of deliveries, Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is suffering in the pizza business because Domino's is absolutely the leader in pizza delivery, at least the most popular pizza delivery option in America. So Pizza Hut is trying something kind of different.
It's cheesy, it's delicious, and kids go nuts for it.
Hey, speaking of kids, it's a Thursday, a.k.a. Blur's Day. So
My birthday today.
do some Blur's Day messages. And we'll say hello to this guy, longest-running Cobra of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
Oh, yeah.
I've been having a slightly frantic morning getting this and that together and getting ready. I bet you he has as well. He's Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. Speaking of getting ready for next week, I have to say this at the top of the show, because if I don't say this as the very first thing out of my mouth, we will get so distracted, we will tangent upon tangent like we did Monday through Wednesday of this week, and I'll never say this important announcement, which is this. Tomorrow, the TBTL newsletter will unveil for the first time.
Wait, hold on, do we want like a drum roll or something?
I mean, I feel like we literally did the opposite of a drum roll by interrupting the announcement.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying I think that needed a little bit more energy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to... No, all right, sorry. I apologize. My bad. I'll back out of your announcement now. My fault.
These are interesting.
Back to what you were saying, sir.
Are those toms? What kind of drum is? Can you play that again? What kind of drum is that? Is that like a? It's not a snare. I don't think.
It's all about the tweeter, right? What does he say?
These 3 toms.
No,
well,
it's we're doing too many different things.
Exactly.
Here.
I think we're confusing. I think we're
going to say.
Hey, look, we're tangenting. I told you that was going to happen.
Stop.
So we have mentioned this before, but I just want to remind people that if you are interested, and I know you are, in seeing what we are going to be giving away as thank you gifts for this year's TBTL-a-thon, which is very exciting. We've put a lot of work into this. We've hired professionals. We've hired experts. And in putting together the website, which is not live yet last night, I was getting excited all over again to show people what we have for them. It's going to be great, but we're unveiling them in tomorrow's TBTL newsletter. So if you are not a TBTL newsletter subscriber, that gives you...
Found it.
There. That's what this needed. The newsletter, just sign up for the damn newsletter. TBTL.net is how you do that. And then you can learn what the gifts are. They're really cool this year.
Yes. They are. And you and John in particular have put in so much work on these thank you gifts. One of them in particular I'm thinking of, which I'll be honest with you, when it was proposed as an idea, it did not occur to me, actually, the amount of detail, back and forth, thinking. I'll even say this. I don't think I'm giving too much away. Artistic abilities on your behalf, Andrew, your particular behalf.
Yeah. And also the one that we're kind of vaguely referring to here that we're very, very excited about is one of those things that has been an idea that's been kicking around for, I want to say, close to 10 years now, because I remember wandering around the halls of American Public Media our first year there and talking to one of our colleagues there about an idea that I had for a TBTL giveaway. And not unlike the sound machine, it just took a long time to come to fruition. And I think that time was necessary for it to come to this particular version of itself. And so that's what we'll be unveiling tomorrow. And you can sign up for the TBTL newsletter at tbtl.net. I think you click on a little, you know what I named the button? Newsletter.
What?
Newsletter.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Let's keep them guessing.
Or just scroll to the bottom of the page and you can do it there too.
If you are not currently signed up for the TBTL newsletter, or maybe if you did a long time ago, but now you've changed email addresses or changed your, I don't know, your spam protocols, like make sure you're signed up for this thing because, A, it's just a fun read when it comes out and it's got all kinds of great information about the show. And yeah, I was thinking about the thon today when I got up, of course, and I was thinking about something that I'm kind of proud of about this show, and I don't use that term a lot related to me or anything I work on, is that this fundraiser week that we're about to go into, I was thinking if I'm a listener, I'm actually really looking forward to this, as opposed to, you know, your typical public radio fundraiser, which can be, I know I'll cop to this, when I'm tuning into OPB and it turns out it's a fundraiser week, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll be hearing, you know, a lot of the reasons why I should support OPB, which I do, by the way. But with our show, it's like, we're going to Valley City, Ohio. There's art that's been built for the website that's going to like tell people how to stream the shows. People can call in. People can chat with their friends. Like, this is going to be actually, I think, like if I were a TBTL listener, I would be getting kind of really excited about next week because you and John and I are all going to be in the same room. We're going to be having adventures. We're going to be meeting people. We're going to have a frog cam. It's just like all of this stuff going on. And what I was thinking was, the way that I like to get excited about things is I like to get excited about the thing even before the thing. When I was in my 20s and we would go to Vegas, me and my friends, my favorite part of the whole trip would be meeting up at my apartment before we got in the taxi cab to go to the airport. One, because that meant there was the most amount of the trip still in the foreground versus the background.
All potential.
There was just something about that, and I remember like Camaro Kev and JD and other folks all showing up at my place, and we're maybe, you know, having a couple of drinks or something, kind of pre-funking, and just like getting so excited about how excited I was before the thing had happened. And this is what I'm going somewhere with this. If you are signed up for the newsletter, then tomorrow when the newsletter comes out, you can be getting excited about a thing that's happening in the it's pre-funking. It's basically pre-funking for the thon. You get to see what the thank you gifts are, You get to know what you're all excited about if you are going to be somebody who donates in the following week. About what's out there for you to have. Also, you can just admire it as,
as a piece of art that just stands on its own.
Art.
I already have the little photo picked out for the Lucy of the Day photo. I took one yesterday that I'm excited to share with everybody. And, you were starting to say something there that I know that I probably say this every year around this time, and it's very earnest, but it's very true. When I worked in public radio, as you know, Luke, I worked on various talk shows as a producer, but a big part of my job was also producing parts of the fund drives and the membership drives or whatever they called it. And I loved it. I loved that work. And one of the things that I always disliked about that work was when I would hear people, not on our airwaves, I'm proud to say, but on other radio stations, apologizing for their fundraising. Well, you know what? I'll call out names. KOW, my beloved KOW here in Seattle, does that all the time. And it really bums me out. They will start running promos before they even begin the fund drive or the membership drive, kind of apologizing for it and saying we're going to try to make it as short as possible this year by calling your pledge now to make it short, so we don't have to torture you for as long as we usually torture you. And I've long before I was a part of TBTL, I would say, if you're apologizing for your programming, this sounds like such cheesy, like public radio program director stuff, but like, if you're apologizing for your programming, you got to change your programming. Like, there's got to be a way to do it that is good and listenable. And, I know that the news format of a traditional public radio station has a difficult time sort of, blending the news of the day, which sometimes can be grim. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but sometimes the news can be a little bit hard to listen to. And then parlaying that into a fun pitch drive or pitch campaign or whatever, where we're asking people to give money. But, you look at stations like The Current there in Twin Cities, speaking of American public media, people love their fund drives because they create this amazing programming around it, and people tune in because they want to hear, whatever the countdown is going to be, who's going to crown the countdown of the year or whatever. There are ways to make this stuff fun, and I would say that out of a lot of, again, you used the word pride a moment ago. I don't know if we should go that far, but one of the things that I do love the most about this job, aside from it being very unique and fun, and it's mostly you and I laughing with each other 5 days a week, is we've actually achieved the dream of what you just said. Like, the time that we ask for money is arguably some of the most fun and adventurous times that we have on the show, and have.
I would
been
say
doing that for
arguably
10
the only
years.
fun and adventurous times we have on this show.
Shut up.
Increasingly.
No, but yeah. No, I mean, honestly, you and I have a good time all the time, but it is so nice to actually achieve my sort of low-key public radio, producer dream of creating fund drives that are like really fun. Well, you know what, Luke? I'm going to say it. We're putting the We're putting the drive in. We're putting the mem in membership drive. No,
the burr in membership drive.
We're putting the burr under the saddle in the membership drive. Anyway, true story though, and I really am looking forward to it. This is going to be a really special one, and hearing from people back home who are like, "Oh, I heard you're coming to Valley City to do this show." So word is spreading. I mentioned we have Capretas listening in now, so it's all happening. Yeah.
Have you been checking the downloads? Have you seen a pretty big uptick since we were on the Valley City Community Facebook page?
No, I don't check I don't check the downloads, and I certainly don't read the comments, except for the nice ones.
Did you see that? Maybe we can talk about this tomorrow when we have John on. Also, maybe it doesn't matter, but you know how it was pretty into that AI drawing of us broadcasting because I thought we looked really nice. But then my friend Spring heard that and threw in, I guess, some different parameters and made a different AI rendering of us doing the show where we're a little more age appropriate.
But it's still way too flattering to me. Like, right? It doesn't look
even though it's age appropriate. You won't go with age appropriate and flattering. In other words, the problem with the first one was not only was it overly flattering, we were children in it. Now we're just like much handsomer versions of ourselves, but more or less in the range. Like, you've got a hat on, so we're not.
Oh, that's right. I look like a ranger. I'm dressed like a ranger, which I actually think is very funny. Yeah. You've got kind of gray hair in this, which is.
I have my hair is more the color of my real hair.
Yeah,
I feel like it's getting closer.
Yeah, it's definitely getting closer.
Will you never be happy until the renderings of us make us look as ugly as
I'm not
really
even talking
are?
about you. I actually think this is good of you. Of me, it's just you gotta add some poundage there. Listen, I don't want to see that, but I'm just saying that it's the image of me is very flattering. I just look like a handsome man with a beard, which is
I look like a little bit like if Ira Glass maybe had grayer hair. Also, I don't usually wear glasses, and I'm wearing glasses.
Oh, that you know what? That helps. You always say that's the thing about these when either a real person or an artificial intelligence creates images of us. You always say that like my beard and glasses gives people more to work with as identifying.
I agree.
Badges.
You can be caricatured, I think, in a more interesting and fun way because you have some kind of like some things that can be keyed into, whereas I just have kind of a fairly standard, kind of middle-aged kind of guy face with no glasses, no beard, I just kind of am what I am, and it doesn't really lend itself, I think, to like I look at this picture of you and I think that's Andrew. Like you look like Andrew to me in there, and it's very Andrew to me.
Well, I am okay. A couple of things I want to say about this. First of all, does Spring listen to TBTL or just get information from you?
Here's what happens. Okay. Spring's husband Scott, who's a truck driver, listens to TBTL and then reports it back to her.
Okay, good. I do think that truck drivers, truck drivers are great demos for us. Yeah. That's why, like, that you have that satellite radio station called like, what is it like? It's like trucker radio or rural radio or something like that. I think we need to tap into that demo more.
Yeah,
so
we do.
Spring's husband, if you could tell, if you, I don't know if you guys have.
Scott, next time you're showering at the Loves, will you just kind of lean under the stall to the guy showering next to you and ask him if he's heard the good news?
Yes, exactly. Write TBTL with your finger in the steam of the mirror, if you don't mind.
And then our phone number.
Or no, take the soap and write TBTL so that every time that mirror steams up, we'll see TBTL and then our phone number, of course. So anyway, I don't want to talk directly to Spring here, but I just want to say I don't want. Like in my not criticism, but in my, let's say, analysis of my imagery here in this image, I don't want Spring going back and being like, okay, Andrew wants more poundage. Like, don't. That's not a that's not a call to action. Is what I'm saying. They're like, this is nice, this is beautiful. Just leave this be. Secondly, I want to point out that
I hope Andrew wants more poundage was in the clear.
This is the first thing I thought of when I saw this, updated AI image of us podcasting, and this is a direct insult to me. And there's no way you can convince me.
I know what you're gonna say.
I find it hard to believe that you know what I'm going to say, but try it.
Okay. Is it that you're working from an Apple computer?
No, I didn't notice that, but it is computer related. I noticed your computer is plugged into the audio board and mine is not. Why is Spring taking away my ability to play sound on TVTL? I didn't notice the Apple on that.
His one KPI, and we're taking it away from him.
Look at that. Oh, yeah. No, you just give me a toy computer. Look,
Andrew, everyone knows I'm the tech guy. Your computer hasn't been plugged in for years.
It's like giving a kid a toy phone.
That would be the Shyamalaning of a lifetime if at the end of this whole movie called TBTL, it turned out your computer had never been plugged in.
At all. You're just like, just keeping me happy, just keeping me entertained.
Oh, God.
I appreciate that.
Would be a real plot twist at the end, considering this entire thing as has been sort of talked about at length and as is in its most stark relief on weeks like this leading up to the thon. If it were up to me to do any of the technical stuff related to the show, the show would just not happen. I mean, John could handle some of the posting and a couple of internet things, but like the audio, the very fact that this thing is, people are hearing my voice and your voice and it's coming through their phones, it is 100% because of you and your technical abilities. So thank you for your service.
Salute.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
I know this isn't really top story material, but I got a great night's sleep last night, and yet I woke up this morning. I did. I went to bed early, slept all the way through the night.
I'm just laughing because we joke about how this show is maybe not for the younger generations now. Just like Top Story. I got a lot of rest last night. I love it.
Well, if you're not going to let me use the younger AI images of us, then I'm going to fully lean into my age.
Fair enough.
But despite getting an amazing night's sleep, I must have slept slightly funny because I've got a crook in my neck. And I'm a little worried because I feel like an athlete going into the big game here. Like I can't have can't have any problems. I can't get sick. I can't have a sore neck. I've got to be operating at absolutely 100% when we hit the ground in Valley City, Ohio. But that's actually not what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about just kind of to close the loop on our conversation yesterday, where I was kind of embarrassed about a couple of things. One, I was embarrassed that I was feeling a sense of embarrassment about my home environment. I had a friend coming over who was going to be giving me this boat because he's gotten a new boat, and he asked if I wanted his old boat. I kind of couldn't turn it down. It was an offer too good to refuse. But then I became very insecure about, like, he lives in a lovely home and has been a very successful person in the world of business and things like that. And for the last couple of years, one of our main topics, because I've been working on the house when we're at his lovely home, has been like, oh, how's it going with the house? And I'm talking about it, and Becca's hyping it up to his wife, and I was just feeling I was feeling a little like maybe it was going to be oversold. It was going to be overhyped or something. And then also I was nervous about the listeners hearing about me getting a second boat.
Oh, yeah.
I've historically not done great with the maritime activities.
Did you get any feedback on that? I mean, I kind of don't think that the listeners maybe get an eye roll or something, but it's like, is anybody really going to reach out and say, Luke, this is irresponsible?
Maybe because they sensed I was fragile. Nobody reached out and said, whatever, dude. And in fact, I don't think I expected anyone to reach out. I just expected them to roll their eyes a little bit. And maybe that did happen. Who knows? But the update on everything is we got the boat here. We met up at the marina. We took the boat out. It was so fun, Andrew. I found my cows, which people, if they're careful listeners, may remember that for the last couple of summers, when I'm driving on Interstate 5, kind of south of my house, there is this little island. It's called Martin Island. I thought it was called Deer Island for some reason, but I looked it up again. It's actually called Martin Island. And in the summertime, there would be cows living on this island. And it's a big grassy thing. It's like they've got lots of grass to graze on, but then they could also on hot days just walk down to this sandy beach and just stand in the Columbia River. And it just made me so happy for these cows. I just thought, like, this is so great for them. They get to cool off. They get to drink river water. They get to eat grass to their heart's delight. Nobody's herding them, rounding them up to anything. They just seemed like a great life for them. And this year has been the first year that I've been out here that there were no cows on the island. And, like, I was kind of bummed about it. Well, we were out in the boat, my friend and I, I was learning the ropes of this particular boat. It's a Sea Ray ski boat. It's also 20 feet. My little runabout was like 17 feet, so it's a little bit bigger. It's a little more powerful. There's some stuff about the boat that is new to me.
But still small. Like, it's still a small, manageable little boat as opposed to the one that caused you more grief.
It's smaller than the Chris Craft.
Yeah.
It's smaller than, yes, it's much more manageable than the Chris Craft. It's a ski boat, so it's, you can picture it. But it's definitely got some get up and go. Like, it's the kind of ski boat, which I will never utilize this, but this is like if you're like a serious wakeboarder kind of boat. Like, it has this whole aftermarket device that is a cruise control. If you're pulling someone on water skis or on a wakeboard and you want to make sure that you're keeping your speed absolutely consistent, you can set it on whatever, and then you, the driver of the boat, can have full concentration on, like, I don't know. I've never pulled anybody on water skis or on an inner tube either, so that's going to be a learning curve for me and something I'm going to really ease into. That feels like a lot of pressure to me, dragging someone behind the boat on an inner tube. I don't know why that stresses me out. I've never done that on any of my boats, but I'll work my way up to that.
I like the idea. If I got if I learned, this is a lot of ifs, but if I learned how to ski and got myself a mascot uniform, would you take me out? What would be a good mascot? I'm picturing myself as like a... For some reason, I was
squirrel, because famously,
that's a
America's
good idea.
Got Talent had a water skiing squirrel.
That's a good
what
idea.
If you were just like a human-sized squirrel, that could also water ski.
A man-sized squirrel. All right, book it. I'll look into it.
Okay. Well, you've now given me a reason to really kind of sort of bone up on my and improve my my skills of pulling people on water skis. But so we're out cruising around. I'm learning kind of how the boat works, and we go across the Columbia. We're down kind of by actually the city of Kalama, and we by the marina. We go across the river, and what do I see, Andrew? My cows on a different beach. Yeah. I think whoever has been taking them out to Martin Island didn't want to take them out there or whatever. They're on this different area of land that I can't see from the freeway that's across the Columbia, where they are, guess what? standing in the river, eating their grass, living their life. I was so ecstatic to find my cows, or another set of cows that I'm going to pretend are my cows.
It's rural sprawl is what it is, unfortunately, right? Just kind of, you don't have the density on the one side of the island. Everybody's spreading out. Everybody wants their sort of cow suburban lifestyles.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but in this case, I love to see it.
Yeah,
I took pictures, I videotaped them, and it's funny because on the video of me trying to film the cows, you can hear Jim going, my friend going, "Oh, hey, just so you know, it's a little shallow." Like
because you're taking photos, but you're also piloting the boat.
I'm driving the boat, but I'm also trying to take video of my cows. But I'm also forgetting
and the adventure begins again.
Yeah, right. Because this is the kind of boat. Actually, what's really fun about it is you can beach it. In fact, that's what we did last summer. So if there's a little sandy area of beach, you can drive the boat up there, and you can get going not super fast, but enough that it just kind of settles up on the sand. You tie it off on the shore, you jump out, and you're hanging out on the island, and then you push the boat out when you're ready to go. The thing is, it's got to be a kind of beach where the water is, let's say, 4 feet deep up until you get to the beach. What we were dealing with, my cows were on a beach we were 300 yards from the beach, and the water was already 1 foot.
Yeah.
So it was very shallow for a long time, meaning there was a chance we would just get the boat stuck in the sand, and we'd still be like 300 feet from the beach. We'd just be in 1 foot of water.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be the end of the world. You just have to jump out and push the boat, but it would be sort of a hassle. So.
Yeah, and you got to watch out for rocks, of course.
Yeah, it's not really rock town out here. What it is log town. That's the big deadheads, they call them. Like, you get a lot of logs that are just floating down the river, and some of them are kind of under the water and hard to see. That's I think there's a lot to be concerned about out there. But the thing I was concerned about also was, will my friend think that my home is a lovely palatial riverside estate, or will he think it's a 1930s shack that I have remodeled with no particular architectural advice? And we get the boat up here, and we're kind of like backing the boat down the driveway, getting it set up next to the other boat where it now lives for the moment. And he jumps out of the truck. He's like, "Oh my gosh, the place is great. This is amazing." I said, "Oh yeah, do you want to see the studio?" So we pop up here to the Madrona Hill studio, which is a converted garage. And I go, "So this is the kind of my studio. This is the ADU." He goes, "Oh, I thought this was the house." And I was like, that's when I knew it was going to be fine.
Yeah.
The converted
and
garage.
Also, though, what person comes to a house and says anything that wouldn't be like, "Oh, yeah, this is nice." You know what I mean?
Well, here's what I would say, and this is going to sound defensive, and I don't mean it this way. It's like, what person is reliving a conversation that you had with them 10 years ago and thinking Andrew said a bad thing? I don't think it's rational. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is an.
Although I will say, in my thing, I'm not worried about. Well, maybe to a degree, I'm worried about other people saying things, but it's that I remember. I'm mad at myself. It's not about other people.
I see.
Remembering, so it's a little bit different. But
I guess I just think that for me, I never thought this was rational. Like, I don't think there's any chance that anyone's going to come over to my house and be like, "Oh, what a shithole." I'm just like, who knows? I was just in an anxiety about it, but that evaporated very quickly because, of course, my friend was like, "Yeah, this place is great," and really was digging the studio, just thought it was super cool. And then we went in the house and was asking me lots of questions about my design aesthetic, which I was explaining my different inspirations and things like that. We signed the title for the boat over. I paid $1 for it. We took a picture of me handing him the $1.
Oh, nice. Shaking hands.
Nice. And yeah, so that all went as well as it could go. And now I'm actually very excited about being out there on the river. It was a beautiful day, just kind of cruising around, seeing my cows. The excitement, the love of being on the water that had gone dormant for me for actually kind of a long time was reignited, because the first boat that I had is the little one that I still have, and that was so actually like low stress and low pressure. Like, it didn't ever break down because it just had an outboard motor on it that worked really well. It was very easy to steer. It was like one person could handle it quite easily. I never got into any trouble in that boat. And that was, remember yesterday I was saying sometimes I think I need a swimming pool.
And I could be wrong here, but I think the one trouble you got into the boat with the trailer, right? Because that's what we took out to watch the eclipse.
We did
with.
taco, yes.
Yeah,
we tacoed a planter at my old house with the trailer.
And I didn't mean that in a negative way. I've been meaning to sort of reminisce about that with you. I wasn't sure if you remembered that's the boat that I was pretty sure that was the boat that
eclipse.
we took out for the eclipse. You, me, and Rude Dog, right?
Yes, true.
Yeah.
So that was one little hiccup, but compared to because basically what happened, and like I was saying yesterday, sometimes I think I need a swimming pool and all I need is a stock tank.
Uh-huh.
Like I had this little wood motorboat that I loved and that I used all the time, and that was just like, it didn't provide any stress in my life. It only provided happiness. And then because I don't ever just kind of leave well enough alone, at some point I decide, no, what I really need is like a boat that I can sleep on and that I can have a kitchen and this is, I'm gonna be a whole new me who's gonna like cruise around in the Puget Sound and go to the San Juan Islands in my boat that I could just take off on, at the drop of a hat. I think I was even at that time like researching like hot spots. Like, could I do TBTL from the boat for weeks on end? Just like weird. I'm sure the fact that my marriage was in whatever state of crumbling that it was probably didn't help these thoughts of like, maybe I'll just live on the high seas and podcast or something. God knows. But like, so then I get this other big, larger boat, which is sort of fun and everything, but also is way more expensive and way more work and way easier to crash and, comes with this whole new set of stress and responsibility. And then after that, I was kind of like thinking about being on the water on a boat almost was sort of creating a feeling of anxiety for me because what I was attaching it to was all the things about that bigger boat that were just I was just in over my head. Mm-hmm. And then I'm back out on this boat that's just, again, it's just a ski boat. It's just like something that's much more manageable. It works really well. My friend's taking really good care of it. And I was just like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I love this. Like, this is really fun to be out on the water, cruising around, looking at all these big, giant industrial barges and things that are docked in the port of Kalama and that are coming down the river. And I was just like, oh, this is fun. So I'm back to feeling very excited about this whole proposition as opposed to feeling kind of anxiety around it.
You and I both listened back to that really long epic tale that you told about the trouble you got into with the bigger boat when you had like Camaro Kev and some family aboard, some of his family aboard and everything. And that was a really long story, and we both listened to it somewhat recently because we kind of had to edit it down and put it on.
You had to listen to it a lot to try
on
make
the
it coherent and short.
But it's really good. It was a good story, but I'm thinking about that now, and I'm thinking about what you're saying about like how you had this kind of lingering bad feeling, and kind of about that, and I'm realizing, you described that feeling of operating a boat, especially a bigger boat that you don't know what was that? That sounded like wind blowing.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that was something popping up on the internet.
Yeah, but it's almost like, do you have any stress dreams about it? Because I feel like it's like the perfect. The kind of the perfect allegory for like kind of a stress dream, right? Because you're driving this thing, but you can kind of control it, but you can't really control it. And you're used to driving things on land where you turn the wheel and it responds immediately, and that's not the case with boats. And you're floating out there, and it's like it's a lack of control, at least with at your skill level with the boat that you had. Do you have stress dreams about being in a boat out of control? And if not,
well,
why
I
not?
haven't yet.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Sure.
No.
Maybe that'll replace. Maybe we'll replace a worse dream, though. At least you're on the water.
Yeah. It certainly seems. Yeah, you're right. It seems tailor made for that because that was something I was remembering yesterday too. Because I was the one driving this boat and I was pulling it back onto the boat trailer and everything. I also did all of the. It was in a way, it was kind of like. It was interesting because like Jim and I are pretty much the same age, but I was like very much almost like a kid being like, okay, well, how do I do this? And I was like taking notes of how to start the boat. And also, hey, how do you put the boat in? Like, what's your trick for like backing the trailer down into the water and pulling it out? And these are all things I know how to do. These are things I've done many, many times, but I wanted to know how to do it with this boat. Mm-hmm. And so basically the thing was I'm doing all of the stuff with the boat. I'm driving it. I'm backing the trailer. I'm retrailer. I'm doing all under the watchful eye of my friend who's just kind of like, here's what I do with this. Here's, where that button is. And so I was pulling it back in to the marina, and I forgot that the thing with boats are if you're not actually throttling forward or reversing, you don't have very much steering. Mm-hmm. If you're just floating in the water and you're turning the steering wheel, there's just basically like you're angling the propeller but it's not spinning, so it's not doing anything. The way you're steering is by how you're angling the propeller, which is either making you go left or right, depending on the boat. Some boats have a rudder. Some boats have, it's just the direction that the sort of propulsion is going. But when you're, and the whole thing that got me in trouble with the other boat when I crashed it with Camaro Kev's parents on board was because I got out into this channel in the marina and was getting nervous and therefore didn't want to gun the engine, but then realized I don't have any steering. Like there's a point where your boat is floating and you're just moving the steering wheel and nothing's happening. And the only way to get steering is to start actively moving forward, which is very counterintuitive when you're freaking out.
Yeah.
If you're too close to something, you don't want to like start going more towards it, but that's the only way that you can actually have control of the boat. So there's stuff like that I've got to relearn and re-remember.
Yes. And I was that's kind of the exact thing I was thinking of from that story of you trying to explain that kind of, and it makes total sense. Now, this is such a boring place to take this, but because actually I want to talk about one of the top stories. I want to talk about one of the top stories today that I don't even know if you mentioned it today, but you mentioned it yesterday. And in your promo for one of the top stories yesterday, I was shocked by your tone, and I want to revisit that. But I was shocked. We're going to have some hot talk. We're going to have some debate podcasting here in a minute. But does the style of boat change that too? Like as an outboard motor, you're not just moving the rudder. You actually are kind of moving the whole motor and the way it points, right?
Yes, that's one of the ways. So when you have an outboard, well, I mean, if you have an outboard like my other boat does, and it's hooked up to your steering wheel, when you turn the steering wheel, it just rotates the motor. It rotates the whole motor so that the propeller is either pointing to the left or to the right, and therefore you go right or you go left.
So that's going to feel a little bit more intuitive than just having the rudder.
But you don't even see the rudder. Well, I mean, there are sailboats that you actually manually hold the rudder. There's different versions of it. But the point is, if you're using a steering wheel, pretty much on any kind of boat, whatever the propulsion is, the rule of thumb is if you're not putting any water out of the engine, so if you're not pushing water across that rudder, or if you're not pushing water out of that propeller, or you don't have any steering. If a boat is floating along, and it's not, if it's a boat that has a motor on it, whether it's a jet drive, whether it's a propeller, whatever, you have to be kind of pushing some water to have more steering is basically.
Yeah, I mean, the same way that you could sit in a car and turn the steering wheel, but if it's not moving, you're not going away. The only difference is the land isn't pushing you around. The land
you're not sitting still in your car, but also somehow drifting towards another car in the Walmart parking lot.
Without movement, you can't. Those wheels or those rudders don't do shit.
It's exactly that. Now, I know the story that you want to talk about, Andrew. I think I do, but I think I was wondering if maybe we would get into that tomorrow because it's a little closer to the date in question.
I think
the story I want to talk
interesting.
about
Okay.
is it's about a Saturday thing, but I also, this is kind of a legitimate question. I'm not even kidding. Do you think one night when we're in Valley City, Ohio, because we're actually staying in Cleveland. That's where where our Airbnb is, and then we'll be heading over to Valley City each day to broadcast from the community center there. Do you think that one of the nights that we're in Cleveland could go to Pizza Hut for dinner?
If there is one around, I mean, I read this article. I don't know if any of these. So let's set up this story, and then we'll kind of maybe see if we can problem solve that thing. Because the thing about Pizza Hut is, for the longest time, since before the pandemic, but certainly after the pandemic, especially accelerated it, Pizza Hut was not the Pizza Hut of our youths. The Pizza Hut is like mostly to-go places in this day and age until this new kind of effort that they're making, right?
Yeah, because we, our growing up years, as far as I remember, Pizza Hut had the red roof. I mean, that was literally the logo. Had those kind of, the like stained glass little, I don't know what you call it, lamp
like
hanging
Tiffany
down.
lamps? Aren't those Tiffany maybe?
Yeah.
Or maybe that's not technically Tiffany, but anyway.
But people will know what you're talking about when you say that. Like, with that said Pizza Hut, and like the thing, I'm so obsessed with those red like tumblers.
Yeah, the plastic cups, just classic,
those. I bought those off of TikTok. I have like 10 of those in my house. I've never even used them, but I just like them so much. They're so nostalgic for me. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of image of Pizza Hut that I remember from back in the day. Meanwhile, over the years, like you said, because of the changing nature of like I guess, I don't know how people eat or what they want from a pizza place. It seems like the Pizza Huts had sort of evolved into more that kind of modern style of restaurant where it's a lot of pickup orders. It's kind of a lot of glass. Famously, there were the Pizza Hut Taco Bells.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the Pizza Hut. I'm at the Taco Bell. I'm at the combination Pizza Hut Taco Bell. And they really kind of got away from that. And I guess, over the years, Pizza Hut has been having some real trouble competing with so Domino's Pizza has now officially become the delivery, the pizza delivery, brand, I guess. When people think of delivered pizza, they just think of Domino's. And that's actually true. I would never think to order from Pizza Hut for delivery. It wouldn't even occur to me because, again, I think of Pizza Hut as a place that I go with my family to sit at a booth and eat pizza.
And this has been a complaint of Genevieve and I for a while because we have such nostalgic feelings for Pizza Hut. And Pizza Hut was like the cream of the crop of pizza places when I was a kid, right? Especially pizza chains. I guess we had some local ones we liked, but that's very much a generational thing. In fact, this article mentioned something about the dream of millennials or something. I'm like, man, I feel like this is such a Gen X thing, but I guess we can share. But Vives and I, every time we would move to a new place, be it in Los Angeles or here in Seattle, we'd be like, oh, maybe we can get Pizza Hut delivered now. And we always said that we lived in Pizza Hut deserts. Like, we never were somehow within the scope of a Pizza Hut delivery service.
Yes.
And we would kind of quasi joke about it for years. But then a couple of times, we would get it, we were traveling. We'd be like, well, let's get one delivered to the hotel. And I remember doing that. And it just was not good. The first time we had a Pizza Hut pizza, it was the first time in probably 20 years for both of us. And we're like, let's just do it up. We'll get the stuffed crust and everything. Mm-hmm. And it was just so, the stuffed crust just felt kind of icky. It wasn't gooey and melted, It was just everything was and it just was another one of those things where it's well, you can't go back home, but it's also not, oh, I've remembered this wrong. It's just that things aren't as good as they used to be when it comes to this mass manufactured stuff.
That's the problem too, is as we often say, the enshittification of everything includes the sort of food of our youth, because I'm sure the ingredients are cheaper. Well, because basically what's happening is Pizza Hut has been struggling because they kind of don't really know what their brand is. They're not the go-to for delivery stuff. But, a modern Pizza Hut that you might see driving down the road doesn't seem to be very inviting to me. And you're right, there was a Pizza Hut in one neighborhood over from me in Portland. I think Pizza Hut also, as their fortunes fell, they started to, I think, maybe try to become more and more of a discount brand or something, and they were more and more kind of in, like you said, sort of zip codes and area codes that maybe were kind of in more economically marginalized areas and stuff. They were just trying to figure out how can we sell cheaper pizza, and so I remember going and picking, because I do have a real soft spot for the Pizza Hut of my youth, whether it's that stuffed crust stuff, or like I said, kind of sitting in a Pizza Hut and after soccer, like a soccer banquet or something, it's at the Pizza Hut or whatever. So I remember going a couple times to get it just because I wanted a nostalgia hit, and being, like you said, kind of let down, kind of they're not making this with the same ingredients they were making it with when I was a kid, or maybe also my palate has changed over the years or something, but. It turns out that a lot of these, or at least a good number of these Pizza Hut franchisees, people who own Pizza Hut locations, are returning their Pizza Huts that they're the owners of back to these kind of classic style Pizza Huts with the red roof and the checkered tablecloths and the whole thing. I was surprised to read, they were in this one article, the one I sent you, they were talking to a guy who owns a bunch of these Pizza Huts, and that he said he was converting as many of them as were allowed by the franchising agreement. I guess there's some kind of a limit on even if you're the owner, on how many of these. You can't just turn all of your Pizza Huts into classic Pizza Huts. But he said he was doing as many of them as he could.
That's strange. That's a strange rule.
Yeah, did you see that mentioned in the article?
No, maybe I didn't read this full article, but I know I started reading.
Well, it was in the Washington Post, which we know you hate.
Oh yeah, that's right. I know. I read it because you
I jailbroke it for you.
Yeah, you jailbroke it for me. Yeah, so that is the one I looked at.
So yeah, apparently these retro Pizza Huts, the ones that are sort of back to the old style, are doing pretty well. And because it appears that they're creating, I mean, this is the thing. We're always talking about looking for a third place, Andrew. If I were a parent of young kids, I think it would be a fun night if we're just looking for something to do or on our way back from wherever and we're all hungry to go to a Pizza Hut, and sit at the pizza, not get the food, not pick the pizza up and then run home and then everyone get on their screens as we all move to our different corners of the house eating although this is going to make me so hungry for pizza by the end of this conversation.
Exactly.
I'm definitely stopping at a Pizza Hut somewhere in Woodland, Washington today. But the idea of getting a pizza and sitting around, and yes, it's not going to be the best pizza. There's many more artisanal choices that you could probably go to in your town. And maybe that makes more sense. Maybe that's a better product. But I just think the idea of going and sitting in the pizza parlor with your family and eating pizza and having a soda or something, it's that just sounds really fun and wholesome to me. And I'm not shocked to hear that people are kind of searching for that or people are interested in that.
So a couple of things. Actually, I have three things. I'm going to start with a really quickie thing here to say that this nostalgia grab or whatever you would call it by Pizza Hut or certain franchisees, it makes a lot of sense because I felt like Pizza Hut, the brand, started this a while back. In fact, I'm looking this up and I'm seeing one from 2021. Do you remember the Craig Robinson Pizza Hut commercials?
I remember them during football games. And he's singing.
Yeah. Well, he's dressed in some kind of red and white Pizza Hut swag, right? But also he's in either it's his. I think 2021 would have been the pandemic. So maybe he's in his own home, but he's got it totally tricked out with all the hallmarks of nostalgia. It's got the Tiffany lamps. It's got the kind of exposed brick that a lot of those Pizza Huts had. It's he's playing Miss Pac-Man let me just actually play the beginning of this one.
Come on. Man, me and Pizza Hut go way back.
See?
I've been playing this game since 82.
See, they're trying, they were already, the national brand was already, and I don't even know if it was the same ownership then, was already realizing, wait a second, this is a huge Pizza Hut's brand, the nostalgia for my generation and maybe folks a little younger than me, that is the biggest selling point of Pizza Hut.
Yeah, a company called Yum Brands.
Yeah.
I think they own Taco Bell as well. Just as a side note,
and KFC.
I was reading this Wall Street Journal article about the relationship between Coca-Cola and McDonald's, which is very fascinating.
Yeah.
McDonald's is Coke's #1 client. There's an entire enormous division of Coke that is just dedicated to its relationship with McDonald's, and all the stories about the ingredients that McDonald's uses to make their Coke and their Diet Coke that people think it tastes better. That's actually real. They just mentioned in passing though about how people also want to kind of try other stuff. They said that Baja Blast generates $1 billion of revenue a year for Taco Bell.
Oh wow.
Baja Blast.
Because is that one of the ones you can only get at Taco Bell?
Yes, it's an exclusive Taco Bell collab.
I've wanted to try that. I've never had it.
Yum Brands, $1 billion and $4 of profit for them.
Well, that's the thing. That's the problem. I see commercials for that. And I'm like, ooh, I would try that soft drink. I like the occasional kind of wacky soft drink, but I never go to Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's if you don't eat meat, Taco Bell is actually a weirdly, surprisingly good option. Mm-hmm. Every single thing on the menu can just be made vegetarian, and they just use refried beans instead of whatever the meat is. Now, I can't speak for if the ingredients have commingled or something like that, but you can get a bunch of veggie items there. So what I was going to say is Yum Brands sold Pizza Hut to a private equity firm called Long Range Capital. Mm-hmm. Nothing good has ever happened when a private equity firm called Long Range Capital buys up your chain. This has heavy Red Lobster implications, it would seem.
Exactly, or Joann Fabrics, even worse. You know what I mean? And that's why I was like, oh, geez. That's why I was it's weird because I'm on Yum Brands and they're still listing Pizza Hut as one of their brands along with Taco Bell.
Because they own Pizza Hut in China.
Oh, interesting.
They didn't sell Pizza Hut China to Yum Brands.
Oh,
Isn't that crazy?
interesting. So that,
That
they
was
could,
the-
and is
so
it
that's
so that they
probably
could
where the-
still sort of keep it in their portfolio?
Well, my guess is because Pizza Hut China is doing great for them. There's this weird life of American food brands. You know, like KFC famously is considered very high eating in China. People will go on like holiday, like nice family outings to KFC in China. So my guess is maybe Pizza Hut is similar. Like it's probably doing well over there, which is why Yum Brands did not want to part with that part of their portfolio.
There's one thing that I've been trying to unlock for the past couple of days, a memory, and I apologize because I don't see any way me not remembering something it would make for a good podcasting story, but I just have to exercise it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, the listeners. Like, hit fast forward a little bit and then donate on Monday. But before I feel like there was as much of a conversation about Pizza Hut nostalgia, which it has been a conversation recently. Like I said, Pizza Hut was trying to like kind of draft off it a little bit. And again, these commercials are going back to 2001, so that's 5 years ago. I feel like just with TikTok and social media or whatever, I see plenty of people of my general age just like reminiscing about the Book It program, right? Like we'd even talk about that, like the idea of, it's summertime, I read a book and now I get a pizza, or I read 5 books or whatever it was, and I get a pizza. But it's like all of that is just tied up, I think, for people of our age who had that experience of just like a kind of a wholesomeness, of something to look forward to, and it's definitely something that has been noted at this point. But I feel like, and this is the memory that I just can't unlock, and I feel like you are somehow connected to this memory because it feels like it would have been a TBTL trip of some sort where I was no longer with you. It's almost as if we finished up our TBTL-a-thon, or is there you and I always stay so close, like even if we're in a hotel, we're like a room apart or something like that. So I can't figure out how this happened, but like I know I was on some weird road trip by myself and just had one night in some sort of like just a random town, not like not like Chicago, or like a random town, and I saw an old school Pizza Hut, and I was like, I'm going to go there and get a pizza. But I think it was still maybe pandemic-y, or maybe it just was the state of Pizza Huts at this point. I placed the order. I'm going to take it back to my hotel room. But it's like I go in, and it's at the old school restaurant, except the whole thing was shut down, except for the front where they're making the pizzas and where I can pay for the pizza. And I remember sitting there. I think I even called my dad on the phone. I know it was a thon because I was updating him on the activities of the week. And I'm sitting in this old school booth, and it should have been awesome, but it was instead like very depressing because it was like I was living the dream that I always wanted to live, which was back in an old Pizza Hut, except it was shut down and just really glum.
Were you driving home from when we did the thon in Denver, because you had driven out there solo?
I don't think so, because I remember that had its own complications, and also
that
one
hotel.
That one I was in Baker City, and I was very sick. I had caught a really bad cold, and it was that was like kind of the tail end of the pandemic as we think of it too. And I remember I took my first COVID test. I was like, oh no, I'm driving across the country with COVID. That's how terrible I felt. But I took a test, and it turns out it wasn't COVID. It was just, I think it was just like all the stress of the week or whatever. And then as soon as our last event was over. So anyway, I know that it wasn't Denver. I'm quite sure. I won't say I wouldn't know, but I'm quite sure it wasn't Denver. But I can't. But the Delica trip, I wouldn't have ever taken. I never drove the Delica, so it's not like I would have like zipped away somewhere in the Delica. I remember where I parked. I parked in the back parking lot of this Pizza Hut, just to add to the grimness of this story.
So you think it was the pandemic?
Feel like it was, or like like they were open.
And it wasn't a thing where like when you and Vives went down to like the Grand Canyon or something.
We did get a Pizza Hut on that trip, but we had it delivered. That was the stuffed crust one. That was the one where we had it delivered to a hotel, where we were appalled because it was still like kind of pandemic-y. We thought a trip to the Grand Canyon would be like kind of a good way to social distance, but also celebrate our 20th anniversary. But then we were staying in some sort of like small, like in a cheap, like whatever cheap hotel chain in Idaho rather. Yeah. And we were appalled by the fact that some kids sports team, like it was like we were in a state where they hadn't heard of the pandemic at all.
You're pretty much, the second you left Seattle, you were immediately in the part of the country
It was
didn't
amazing.
believe you. You're cutting through Idaho. You're going through Kingman, Arizona. You're in you are in absolute vaccine denier town.
Oh my God, yeah, and some of the things that we saw like on the backs of trucks, like literally white supremacist signs and stuff in Arizona was quite shocking as well. That like upside tail hitches or whatever with the upside down OK symbol or whatever, just like oh great, this is America. By the way, that was days before January 6th or January 5th, as you like to call it.
Well, it was also days before January 5th.
It was actually. You know what? It was literally January 5th, I think, or January 4th that we saw that stuff. But anyway, yeah, like I can remember all these various details. I remember talking to my dad on the phone in this booth of a sad but otherwise like structurally intact old Pizza Hut. And like I said, did this make for the best story on TBTL?
Well,
no, because nobody can answer this question except for me.
And maybe your dad. Maybe next week you can ask Bob, because he might. I mean, he'll remember like you calling him from a Pizza Hut. You probably told him you were in a Pizza Hut. That might
maybe.
I was wondering if you were trying to steal one of my memories, which was when I drove across the country because I didn't have any ID, and I drove from New York to Seattle that one time, and I was sort of doing my half of the show from the road in different places. I stayed in an Airbnb in Indiana. I want to say it was called Kendallville, Indiana, or maybe Libertyville. It was somethingville, Indiana, and I stayed in this little kind of in the little downtown area of this town, kind of like the main street where in the olden days there was always maybe like a J.C. Penney's and kind of like all that part of small town America that's been in a lot of cases sort of hollowed out a little bit. I was in that part of this town in this little upstairs apartment that somebody was renting out as an Airbnb. And I remember wandering around the town or driving around the town and noticing that they had an old school Pizza Hut and going to it because of, and I think I had an okay experience. I can't remember.
There were servers and you could actually sit. Like this place that I was in was to go only at this point.
Right. And this is my whole larger, and I'm sorry that I can't help you remember where that was. Although I do feel like it should be knowable because you're not on like a ton of solo trips. Was it like maybe in Arizona or
like
something?
Visiting my mom? I've explored that as well because I went to a different Pizza Hut takeout place one time visiting my mom in Arizona, but that was one of those small, practically it's like a window. It's just like a takeout
I was
place.
wondering if it was maybe when you and I were at the PRPD, but I think you had gotten your own hotel. Remember that hotel that was like
haunted?
Kind of haunted / sketchy.
Except I didn't have my own car there, and I think it was after that. Anyway.
Okay, well, I was going to say that, like, I think I would certainly be more than willing. I've got the list of where they have classic Pizza Huts in Ohio right now. Tell me if any of these are anywhere near where we're going to be. Waverly, Ohio. No?
Waverly, is that near Valley City? Is that the question?
I'm asking you.
I don't think so. I've heard
Ohio
of Waverly.
Place. Millersburg.
I don't know. That doesn't ring a bell to me.
Zanesville.
I can't do that. What is that?
I can't do that.
I can't do that. Drive a bus. I can't do that.
Pickerington.
None of these towns ring a bell to me.
Carrollton.
No.
Georgetown, Ohio.
No.
Ottawa, Ohio. Warren, Ohio.
Warren I know of, but I don't know. Let's see where
Not
Warren,
close to
Ohio
us.
is.
Alliance, Ohio. Mount Gilead.
I feel like Alliance and Warren might be getting closer. Let's see here.
Those are all of the ones in Ohio.
Okay,
so
Warren, Ohio is far east side, so it's not super close to us, but we could...
Far east side of the state?
No, far east side of Cleveland. So, like, we
it's in
could
Cleveland.
Do that. Well, it's Warren, but let me see. Like, so you're saying one night we drive probably from the Airbnb in Cleveland to Warren, Ohio. Let's see if
or maybe on our way home from the. I mean, I guess that'd be kind of early for pizza, depending on how long we're going to be at our broadcast location.
Let me see here. Let's see here. Oh no, I'm looking up there. I think it's okay to say not to give up our coordinates, but we're staying in an area called Ohio City in Cleveland, right? So,
is that true?
Yeah, I believe that we're technically in Ohio City. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I'll believe you on that. I didn't realize that was. even a place. I just thought we were in Cleveland proper, but we're actually technically in Ohio City.
No, I think technically we are in Cleveland, but I think that's a neighborhood, and that's what I'm running into trouble here with. There's apparently another actual municipality called Ohio City further away, but I think like the neighborhood of Cleveland we're staying in is Ohio City. That's where my old high school was, which is why I kind of know that, and that's where like a lot of my old haunts were, although I think a lot of them are gone now, except for the Wendy's, where me and John are going to get into a fight, because that is where the boys would get into fights after school.
What did they call that? Battle Dome Wendy's or something?
Dave Thomas Arena?
Dave Thomas Arena. Pretty clever name. We're not condoning violence, but it's a pretty clever name.
Yeah, I'm looking. Okay, if I look up St. Ignatius. Anyway, a lot of things I can't answer today.
We'll put John on the case, but I'm just saying, if it's convenient, if it's not super out of the way, and we're looking for something to do one of these nights, I would absolutely go for a Pizza Hut experience, because what I'm trying to say is I have a feeling that if you're sitting in a classic Pizza Hut and they bring the pizza out and it's piping hot and you put it down on the table and you've got one of those plastic cups with the good ice in it and a root beer, that's going to be the best you're going to get with Pizza Hut.
Warren is unfortunately an hour outside of Cleveland. So when I said far east side, it's just east of Cleveland. It's not the east side. It reminds me of when I was I referred to, it was in some sort of radio copy for KUOW. I referred to like Seattle's east side or something when I was new here. And Ross Reynolds had to be like, that is not Seattle's east side. That is the east side, but it is their own municipality. Like Bellevue is not Seattle's east side.
There are none in Washington, by the way. The W stop at it goes Wisconsin, Wyoming. They don't even list. They don't even list Washington State. Someone in Washington State needs to have the courage to step up and get a class. There's a Pizza Hut not that super far from me, but it's just like a normal. It's, you know what it is? I think it's in a gas station that has like a Skipper's, which is if you're from. Yeah, Skipper's. That's an old school Seattle kind of, I think, Northwest kind of brand that's now relegated mostly to gas stations. Like someone just bought the license to the name.
Do you have a recollection of you and I hunkering down and I want to say a Long John Silver's during our hitchhiking trip? We were in some sort of fast food fish restaurant. I don't think I even got any food. And we were just like looking to charge our phones and get off our feet for a little bit. Do you have any recollection of that?
Do you remember what would that have been in like Missouri or something? Maybe?
I don't have the recall to know to even like remember like what state we were in for which adventure, but I do feel like this was the point where we were feeling like we were actually running into some trouble. Like I feel like we were there for a long time. I feel like maybe some weather was coming that we were concerned about, and eventually we got picked up by, I believe, our last driver, which was that chain-smoking woman who also ran a cleaning business, and I was in the back seat.
And also, by the way, lied to us about her graphic design abilities. Do you remember that part?
How did we found out later when we were back home that she had used a stock image or something?
Yeah, she showed us her business card for her cleaning business.
Yeah, right.
And it was like, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. I go, this is really a cool little logo. She goes, yeah, I drew it. And we were like, I remember spending the rest of the ride being like,
why would you lie about that?
Contains so much talent. And then I think I was talking about it on the show or something, or somehow either, I don't know if it was you or a listener, someone just Googled what I was describing, and it was like the first result of like stock clip art for if you were going to want a logo for your cleaning company.
And didn't she complain or something? Or no, she had her daughter on speakerphone the whole time, and wasn't her daughter having car issues somewhere else or something like that? Or I just remember like she was kind of like in some cranky conversation with her daughter on speakerphone, and I feel like that conversation also somehow involved cigarettes. But I could
she picked us up and was like, almost seemed at the beginning of the trip, she almost seemed annoyed.
Yeah.
That we were in the car, and what I felt like saying was, A, thank you for the ride, and also B, you know that you picked us up.
Yeah, it wasn't mandatory.
Almost like, all right, get in.
Yeah.
And I was just driving kind of in a huff, and it's just kind of like, okay, you didn't have to pick us up. Like, thank you, but also you didn't have to.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Shell Knob, Missouri, there's an iconic Pizza Hut perched on the scenic shores of Table Rock Lake in Shell Knob, Missouri.
That sounds nice.
Dude, first of all, I've been to Table Rock Lake. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And this really does look like the platonic ideal. Whereas some of these classic Pizza Huts kind of look like they were retrofitted. Like they were.
Yeah, I was worried about that.
They were kind of made into new Pizza Huts, and now they weren't new enough. So instead of, by the way, one of the things they mentioned in that article, then we got to move on to Blur's Days, was it's a lot cheaper to turn. Let's say you have a Pizza Hut that was remodeled in 1995. You own a Pizza Hut somewhere, and it's no longer like kind of the most up to date. It seems out of date. If you're gonna update it to like a new Pizza Hut with all this glass and steel and like industrial chic, whatever, that's like $300,000. But you can make it a retro Pizza Hut for like $90,000. So it's actually cheaper to make it the retro Pizza Hut for obvious reasons. The Pizza Hut in Shell Knob looks like it didn't go through any of the updates. It's a barn find. It's just been there being a classic Pizza Hut since it was that.
Although the chairs,
original.
so this is funny. I just wanted to see what Shell Knob looked like. So I was looking at Google Maps at Shell Knob and looking at how the river like kind of snakes its way through there. And coincidentally, on the map, right by the water, there was a Pizza Hut. So I clicked on it, and I'm looking at the photos inside. It's not exactly how I remember the seating inside, but I think this might be a special kind of old school Pizza Hut because of its location on the water. They also have like a deck and stuff like that. But like,
oh really?
There are some booths. I don't know if I hit the Z sound too hard on the word booth, but there's a lot. There's fewer booths and more just like these kind of wooden chairs and a big open seating area. And it's got a what do you call that open ceiling? It's like got a pitched roof, but then it's kind of open and you can see
vaulted
the beams.
Ceiling?
It's like a vaulted ceiling. Yeah, it's a little bit more lodgy than I remember these things, but absolutely beautiful.
It may not work out for this coming TBTL-a-thon, but at some point, I'm going to keep my eyes out as I'm traveling the highways and byways of America, maybe for my TV job. I'm going to keep my eyes out for a classic Pizza Hut, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to do a food review on this show, and to see if my theory holds that maybe being in the classic Pizza Hut, drinking out of the classic Pizza Hut cup will actually time travel me back to being a kid at a Pizza Hut.
Luke Burbank, do you know what this Shell Knob Pizza Hut has? Because it's literally on the water, you can drive your boat up, and they have a little dock, and on the dock, they have a little miniature red Pizza Hut roof protecting the boats.
Okay, hold on. I got to look at this. If I go out the Columbia,
I
go all the way out to the Pacific Ocean, and then I go around through the Panama Canal. Is there a way? Can I get to Table Rock Lake in the Ozarks somehow from here in southern Washington? Is there? Or maybe I go up through the Great Lakes. Oh, you know what I mean? I could take the Columbia the other direction and cut into the interior of America. Maybe at some point jump on the Colorado. Anyway, I'll figure it out.
Or I could just send you a picture.
There's a right way to rock and a wrong way to roll. You can just listen to your soul. Just remember that life is number one. You can be having so much fun. Just remember that life is much fun. You can be number one.
All right, I'm double
Hey,
checking.
Andrew.
Oh, what's wrong?
Can I? Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Would it be okay? This is, your segment. You're in charge of this. So I'm going to ask your permission. Would it be all right if I made the very quickest of announcements of non-Blur's Day related content?
It's non-Blur's Day. So if it was Blur's Day, I would let you do it somewhere in the middle of the Blur's Days randomly, but it's a non-Blur's Day.
Or do you want me to do it at the end of the Blur's
announcement.
Days?
Is it? Give me a color-coded system, John Ashcroft style.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, it wasn't Ashcroft. Who came up with the color-coded terrorist alert system? Like,
The
are we
emergency-
talking?
no.
Is it red, yellow, green? How would you categorize this announcement as far as importance?
I think it's yellow. I don't think it's of the highest importance, but it's something that I had meant to mention at the closer to the top of the show, and then I forgot about it.
Well, let me just think about. No, just kidding. Go ahead. What is the announcement?
Okay.
I'm interested in.
Very quickly, listener Kelly wanted to remind folks that the TBTL Book Club is meeting this Sunday.
Oh,
There's a Zoom link that's going to be on the TBTL Book Club Facebook group and the Slack channel. This is happening from 12 to 1 Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. And you don't have to have read the book to be part of the club, but if you have or if you want to, the book is for. There you go. See, that's why
this is the community calendar music.
I know, but I'm asking a lot. I'm asking you to change the Blur's Day music to this. The book is Frozen River, and you can, like I said, you can find out about it by way of the TBTL Book Club Facebook, the Slack channel, and maybe most importantly for this, it would appear that my mother is actually going to be part of this book club because she actually read this book. She told me, I don't want to steal her thunder, it's one of the best books she's ever read. Andrew.
Really?
And so my mom and dad are stopping off here at my house on Sunday. They're driving from my sister Liz's house up to their place. They're stopping here on their way home so my mom can have a good internet connection so she can join the TBTL book club.
How are we feeling about, this is going to sound very condescending, and it's probably because it is, although I don't mean to be, rude about it, but how do we feel about your mom's ability to connect with the rest of the group?
I've been thinking about this all morning. I think because my mom is still my parent, and you know from being a kid, particularly being a teenager, sometimes anything your parents do feels a little cringe. It feels like... But then I think about my mom in Philly and at the after party, after the Philly show, and the line of people waiting to talk to her, and how much everyone was like, oh my God, I loved meeting your mom. I think I have to think about my mom as an independent person in the world, not as my mom. Therefore, I think that she's going to be a big hit.
I think you've wildly misunderstood my question. I meant literally, what are her chances of successfully, technically connecting with the group?
I'd say 0.
I didn't mean your mom can connect with people. That is not the issue. Your mom is great at connecting with people.
Me up at night.
I mean, how will she operate the
something?
Zoom? Will she be able to like kind of negotiate the linkage and the logins and everything that goes along with a Zoom connection?
That's between her and her God, who she's in constant contact with, by the way.
Yes.
I'm just more like, my mom is a free spirit. She's of an older generation than mine. She's of a generation where she will sometimes say things that like you and I would definitely not say, but she goes, what? It's a compliment. You know, that kind of energy.
Yeah.
That's so to turn that loose in the book club. I'm not sure how that all is going to go, but I'm going to let go and let God, because I'm going to be on an airplane. I'm going to be on an airplane heading out to Valley City when this is all happening. So thank you for indulging me.
You're going to let go and let frog.
Yep, that's right.
All right, let's switch gears here and go back to the Blur's Days. If you would like to celebrate somebody's birthday or your own birthday, you're a somebody, you can email me. Andrew at tbtl.net is the email address, and please put Blur's Day or birthday in the subject line so I know to grab them here during the segment. And we have a message here from Caitlin in Eagle, Idaho that says, Happy Blur's Day to Nicole in Worcester, Ohio.
Oh, do they have a Pizza Hut?
I don't think so. You didn't mention Worcester. I would have noticed that.
I didn't see Worcester, so I saw Warren.
My neighbor was just celebrating, I think, her 50th high school reunion or something in Worcester, Ohio last weekend, but that's not relevant to Caitlin's message. Caitlin wants to wish a happy birthday to Nicole in Worcester. She got a warm and levitated. Says she got warm and levitated when she found out y'all would be in Ohio for a late birthday gift. Here's hoping it's a great weekend of her Worcestershire. Miss you. Oh, I see. Here's hoping it's a great weekend for her in Worcestershire. Miss you. But it's actually spelled. It's spelled the proper way. 2 O's. Worcester.
Oh, Worcester.
Yeah,
so
Worcester.
It's Worcester, but it's kind of Worcestershire. How do we say? Do we say Worcestershire or Worcestershire?
Worcester. The one in the joke is the one in New England is also pronounced Worcester, but it's spelled WORCESTER or something like that.
That's also pronounced Worcester?
That's where the whole joke comes from. But in Ohio, they keep things simple, and they spell their Worcesters like it looks. So happy birthday, Nicole. I hope your birthday didn't get lost in that mess of an examination of Worcesters. That's on me. Should I read one from Erica, Luke?
Absolutely.
You sign off on this?
Not only do I co-sign, I'm going to tell you my feelings about it. Aww. It actually makes me emotional thinking about you reading a Blur's Day message from Erica.
Erica says, I would like to wish my 5, Harmony, a wonderful 11th birthday. That is great. I love the name Harmony. Mom is so proud of the person you are becoming. I love you, kiddo.
Kids and fantasy.
Indeed. That's the working title right now of the meetup we're doing next Wednesday, the Zoom meetup. John put together the the invite, and it says kids and fantasy at the top. We'll have more details on that tomorrow when John joins us on the show. Happy birthday, John. I'd like to send a birthday shout-out to Dr. Crispwell of Crispwell Industries, a.k.a. the Mushroom Doctor. She's been fighting the good fight for 41 years, and I wish her all the luck in the world to finally grow her own morels. Although her kids are like...
sound effect.
Yeah, what? It's just, here, it's the sound...
This is like the sound of rain falling on a mushroom.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're very, like, they thrive in kind of dark, moist conditions, damp conditions.
And then here's the sound of them growing.
Okay. It's actually very relaxing.
It is. This is good.
Fall asleep from this.
God,
okay,
I needed
sorry.
this. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wish her all the luck in the world to finally grow her own morels. Genevieve found a morel one time, I believe, in our own backyard. Although her kids are likely her proudest achievement, I'm sure the morels would be a very close second. Happy birthday, Crisp, from an 11. Dear Megan, well, it's been another year, and I'm so glad to wish you a great one coming up. You're the best daughter anyone could ask for. Think of dinners at the Wedgwood Broiler, trudging home in snow while watching police argue over how to get their car out of the ditch. Fearless high dives at Meadowbrook. It's all good. Be your marvelous self. Much love, Mom. A 10.
Okay, that's adorable. And also, we love the Maple Leaf location check between Meadowbrook Pool, where I went many times as a kid, because they had a high dive. They didn't have a high dive at Evans Pool, which is the one at Green Lake. So I would, on special, if I could talk my mom into it, we'd go to Meadowbrook so I could jump off the high dive.
There is a restaurant called The Maple right there on Roosevelt and Maple Leaf, almost directly across the street from that Ace Hardware. My friends run that place.
Nice.
And I'm not just saying this because they're my friends. Literally the best fried eggs I may have ever had. They make them perfectly there. I think I got I've only had breakfast there once because they're my friends. I don't want to support them too much.
Yeah.
It looks, it looks
like
all
crazy.
thirsty. Yeah. But we went there for breakfast, and I think I got steak and eggs, and it was so incredibly good. So if you're in that area, check out the Maple.
You know what's funny is I think that it used to be, is it in that little converted house?
It's a little converted house, and they literally have a banana stand, a little frozen banana window on the side of it.
I think that used to be, back in the day, a restaurant called Raza Malaysia that my dad did signs for.
Oh, really?
And, I'm talking in the 80s. And they would just pay my dad in free Raza Malaysia food. And I remember on my parents' hot date nights, they would go to Raza Malaysia.
What kind of food is that? I'm looking.
I think Malaysian.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I'm just trying to picture the cuisine.
And I remember being like noodles and stuff. But I just remember that always being like, we're going to go to Raza. They just called it Raza. It was either in that exact building or one very close to it, because it was in a house on Roosevelt, right there, kind of by that Ace Hardware.
Ooh, aside from going to the Maple, I want to check out a Malaysian restaurant. I'm looking at little pictures and videos. That stuff looks great. All of that is to say, happy Blur's Day, Megan. Lloyd and Katie say, happy actual Blur's Day to Isaac. No joke. So Isaac is a newborn. Congratulations, guys.
Oh, come on.
Says, no joke, Isaac is here because of the TBTL community. 2 years ago, another 10 shared their little one's Day of Blurs and expressed how difficult the journey was, dealing with repeated loss yet never giving up. And I can confirm what was said during that Blur's Day message. Holding you in my arms for the first time. Oh, I told myself I wasn't going to get choked up. I read this morning. I'm like, you can do this. You can do this.
How could you not, man?
Holding you in my arms for the first time made every hard day worth it.
Oh, my goodness gracious. That is, I'm tearing up hearing you tearing up, man. That's
the way it works. It's
beautiful.
Contagious. I'll try not to hiccup, too, because that's also contagious. It says, thank you to whoever shared their story. It found us at a very difficult moment and gave us what we needed to try one last time with grace.
Oh, my goodness. That is incredibly heartwarming, and I'm so happy for you and Isaac. Welcome to the rest of your life.
I was going to say, welcome to this.
I know. There's going to be a lot of this. It's going to be two guys
So
We're getting increasingly old
and increasingly emotional at stories like this.
talking about this and that and Pizza Hut. So this is going to be the sonic backdrop of a lot of your life.
Okay, listen.
Get used to it, kid.
Isaac, maybe you can help me with this. I know I was on a road trip. I feel like it was part of a TBTL-a-thon, but I was by myself for some reason. I can picture the booth I was sitting in, Isaac. Can you help me here?
When you were in the Bardot, when you were in the liminal spirit world between being not fully alive and now being alive, when you were flying around in that spirit realm, did you ever observe Andrew at a Pizza Hut calling his dad?
And if you were above me, how big was my bald spot at that point? That's really sweet. Congratulations, guys. And again, happy Blur's Day and welcome to the world, Isaac. Also, happy Blur's Day to Megan and Edmonds from Annie in Seattle. I hope your day is filled with fun, excitement, and more commentary from Andrew about Dirty Dancing. Oh, I don't know if I got it in me today. Red Robin and the Husky Helmet Car forever. Amen to
hell
that.
Yeah.
Helmet, yeah.
Dude, that thing.
I love that helmet.
That thing so much.
It's by far my favorite thing about going to Husky games. I usually go to about one a year with Genevieve, and I'm always just
that's
looking
one more a year than I go to, having graduated from that school
Yeah.
and having been at sometimes obsessed with the football team.
Yeah, well, they're having me do the Husky Corner for UW today. Now I understand now that Genevieve.
Oh, you're the Husky Corner, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. When's your latest column on Joe Jerzinka coming out?
Googling that.
That sounds like a guy you would have grown up with, actually.
It does. The name sounds very Ohio Polish. Yeah,
it's very Ohio Polish.
That's a classic name from the.
That was just a guy. That was just that's for our Husky football fans out there. That was just a fun pull for them.
I see.
We had a guy named Joe Jerzinka, who was like he was a kick returner. He was a kind of diminutive but very fast guy, and if I remember right, he had like a mullet or some kind of a rat tail that might stick out from under his helmet, and he was just fun to watch. But,
nice.
But yeah, so that was just for the Huskies out there. You can use that in your Husky Corner.
Thank
column.
you, appreciate it. I came up with that name myself while criticizing other more pedestrian names. All right, last one here. This is from our pal Maggie in Swarthmore, who keeps me in Fig Newtons and goldfish crackers. Happy 58th Blur's Day to me. 58 is a weird number, I think. Too old to be young, too young to retire. My goal for this year is to live human scale, connecting with people, being friendly to strangers, hosting more dinner parties and outdoor movie nights on our porch. Oh, that sounds great. Thank you, honestly, TBTL friendos, for being leaders in this continuing quest to cure global loneliness. Love ya. We love you back, Maggie. Thank you. And thank you for being such a kind friend all these years. Maggie's the person who also sent me a basketball a few years ago. You'll be shocked to hear that my basketball career has not taken off the way I expected it to, but there's still time.
Isn't Maggie the person who sent you the Fig Newtons?
Yes,
too?
I said she keeps me in Fig Newtons and goldfish.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Yeah.
Also, I think that's a really good way to think about being 58 or being any age. Here's the thing. After a certain point, maybe I don't know what it is, different for everybody. Let's call it 30 for some people. After a certain, like when you're young, you're not thinking about your age or that you're getting older, particularly, or that, I don't know, you're not thinking about life the same way. And then there's some point where you just sort of start going, oh, wow, I'm older than I expected to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't expect to be this old. Oh, I never thought I was going to. That's kind of like becomes the thing every birthday. Is like, man, I didn't think I was going to be 50.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't think I was going to be 60. But what Maggie said about, thinking about her 58th year and the things that she wants to do and kind of living at a human scale, I think that's really lovely and something nice to think about. As we all age and once we get into that era where we're like, kind of have mixed feelings about it. Like, you don't have mixed feelings about turning 18. You're psyched.
Yeah.
It's like very cool to get, and 21, and there's these milestones where it's just like, you're just so excited about it. And then you get to this other phase where you're just like, wow, I did not expect myself to be a 50-year-old.
Well, it's funny because you spend a big chunk of your life just wanting to get older so much. You want to leave so much behind. Now, I don't know if this is maybe is specific to me to a degree or generational, or maybe it is universal and it's part of youth. I'm not exactly sure. I can't speak for everybody, but I just feel like when you're in grade school, you just cannot wait to get to high school. Just get me out of this place. Being in high school, cannot wait to get out of your house and go to college or whatever your post-high school plans are. For me, it was college. Then I literally remember being like my fourth year of college, like sitting on the on like the stoop of the student center with my friend Greg, singing singing like, we got to get out of this place if it's the last thing we ever do. Just like we were done with it. We just wanted to, can we just move on to the fun adult parts of life? And then you get to a part of life you're just saying, where did my youth go, you know? But honestly, and that sounds depressing, but I've said it before on the show, like I love my life. I wouldn't go back in time if I were to be given the opportunity, and you know, I'm lucky in a lot of ways. And also, as I do get older, I look at you, and I look, you're an older man, and you're still getting around really well, Luke, and you still seem to be living a pretty enjoyable life. So, like,
on the outside,
that's
the
sort
outside
of
observer.
that's sort of what keeps me going.
Yeah, I'm proof that you know, you can live a full and rich life at 50.
Exactly. That's what.
All right, happy Blur's Day to everybody this week. I guess we should probably wrap it on up here today, Andrew. But guess what? This is 5 days a week, this program. So that means we're bringing another show at you tomorrow. We'll have John Sklaroff on. It'll be our final episode before we are checking in from Valley City, Ohio. So I'm sure we'll have much to... I already have the show sheet written out for tomorrow's show, and kind of cheekily, kind of jokingly, I have the question, big weekend plans, but I kind of feel like we already know what the big weekend plans are.
Yeah, well, I do, aside from some frog name updates from Sklaroff and some other Thon-related things, I have a little Thon twist I'm going to let everybody in on. A little tension for the weekend, potentially. I'll give you an update regarding our plans.
Okay, well, that's a good reason to tune in tomorrow to the show. By the way, if you're just tuning in, don't forget to sign up for the TBTL newsletter. Go to tbtl.net, click on the button that says newsletter, so that on Friday you will be among the first to see the TBTL-a-thon thank you gifts that we're going to be sending out to folks. So make sure you do that. And we will see you tomorrow for more Imaginary Radio. In the meantime, have a good Thursday. Take care of yourselves. And please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.